Good day everyone, and it's me again, Lucky-kyun, and finally I'm back for another video tutorial after a long month. It's just 2 months. I've been busy. So in this video tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to improve the colors of your portrait drawing by understanding the environment of the photo. Because for me, it is better to understand what's really going on the photo than how to draw it without knowing what's in it. Because if there are some things you really need to fix, you'll be able to fix it easily because you know and understand what's going on the photo. The title is Beginner Advanced because I'm going to teach you, I'm going to share some knowledge about advanced things that my beginner doesn't know about and explaining it to you as if you were a beginner. I mean, maybe some beginners already knew it, but you know, this can help. This knowledge can benefit medium level artists and beginner artists and maybe some pros, I don't know. I tell you guys, copying a portrait drawing isn't enough. Copying what's in it is not enough. Because pictures are flat and you'll be able to improve it by adjusting the lighting properly, or maybe you can add something that it will make look more interesting. But in this tutorial, I won't be including how to draw a face because you might already knew it. But if not, I'll still try to share some little tips and advices on drawing it. Because drawing a face is another kind of topic. There's a geometry of the face and a lot of stuff. In fact, it will take more longer than just knowing the colors. So that would be for another future videos. This tutorial also applicable to both traditional and digital. It's more knowledge than technicalities. You can apply it to painting, to color pencils, to digital art, to drawing on Android phones, to anything. Because basically this is knowledge. So let's see what we've got. So we start everything with the flat colors. This is the surface, which looks like a little bit yellow because of the sun. And for the sky, I added a little bit gradient to make it more natural. I'm not sure about the color, so I'll try to change it a little. And for our ball of skin, I started with a mid-tone. For those of you who doesn't know about mid-tone, it's just a middle tone. So this is the color before you add the light and the shadow. Different people has different skin tone color. So now we're going to add the light here. As of the moment, we cannot exactly tell where the light came from because it is 2D and we're not sure if the light is from the front or from the back. So what I'm going to do is to draw an arrow in 3-dimensional. So now it is understandable that the light is coming from the front. Now we know which portion we can add the highlights. Now what should be the color of the highlighted area? If you are a beginner, I'm sure you're going straight to the brighter area of your palettes, which for me it's fine. But light has different colors, and highlight color also depends on it. Since we're using the sun at this point, we're going to add a little yellow to it. I believe there's no such thing as a perfect white light. Even an indoor light has little blue to it. There's actually a scientific explanation about the color of the sun. Now we're done with our highlights. If there is light, there should be a shadow. Now we're going to add the shadow to the opposite direction of the main light. Now what should be the color of the shadow? I'm sure a lot of you believe that it is black. The color of the shadow depends on the environment. For our example today, we have to add a little blue to our shadow. That is because of the skylight. Because the sky can also produce a light, and that's what we call ambient light. Ambient light is the light which is not came directly from the main light. Examples of ambient light is bounce light, reflective light, you can call it a secondary light, because light bounces everywhere. And it can produce light depends how much light it absorbs, just like the moon. I suggest you to watch this video because it explains why the sky is blue and what is the real color of the sun. You know, some little knowledge on science, it is helpful. We have added a shadow, so let's add the shadow to the object as well. As for the shadow of the object, let's just gonna make it darker. Later on we will come back to that. Okay, now let's move on. We're going to add the specular lighting. So what is this specular lighting? In a simple way of thinking, it is the brightest area of the highlight. It could be the reflection of the light itself. You can obviously see the specular lighting if the object is glossy. On our skin, it's not actually that visible. I'm only adding this so that it will be easier for you to understand. And keep in mind that any object is reflective, it just depends how the material absorbs the light. I also use this specular lighting to tell us which direction the light came from. To be honest, I've seen a lot of beginner mistakes of this one. It's like they apply it on the wrong place. I'm going to explain a little about this now. When the light is here, some of them add the brightest on the edge, which is actually wrong. If the light is 90 degrees in angle, the brightest area is still not on the edge. Even the light is from behind, the highlight is on the edge, but not the specular lighting or the brightest area. Let me show you a 3D example that I made, and you can actually do this by using a flashlight and a ball in personal. Well, at this point it looks like on the edge because the size of the light itself. But if you look closely, if you zoom it in, it really didn't touch the horizon. But hey, don't be too slave to it that it must be perfect. This is just a subtle idea and a knowledge for you that if the light is on the side of the canvas, the brightest area, specular lighting, doesn't always appear on the edge. Let's try a Star Wars example for this. After seeing that in 3D, it tells me that I made some little mistakes. But hey, that is why reference is important. And after this, we have to add the subsurface scattering. I'm sure that you're familiar with it. You can actually see that when you put a flashlight to your fingers or on ears being hit by the strong light. Every object has a subsurface scattering. With the right amount of light, the object absorbs it and scatters it around. So that's one of the basic logic of it. But to our skin, it appears a little different. That's because our skin is a little bit translucent. The bloodless skin looks like this, and the color of the blood is like this, and then you put it underneath the skin. If you lower the opacity of the skin, it shows us the skin color we used to think. Of course, different people has different skin color, but blood is the reason that's why we always see a little red on it. So that is also the reason why the subsurface scattering of the skin is more wider than any kind of objects. It's spread around inside the skin, and the blood gives a little bit of red in color. You often see it on faces as well. That is because a lot of skin in our face are thin. That's why we're able to see some red colors on it. And some artists emphasize it by adding more red, especially on the nose. Now we proceed again to our shadow color, similar as the shadow we applied on the ground. You should add the ambient lighting from the sky to this shadow area. I added blue and lowered the opacity and get the exact amount I wanted. Later on, we can add the ambient occlusion. For now, let's add the ambient lighting came from the ground. Light bounces to the ground as well. Now the ambient occlusion is the part where the light cannot reach. I'm sure some of you doesn't really familiar about the ambient occlusion because it is actually a new term and you usually see that on 3D and gaming settings. The great thing about ambient occlusion, it gives more great depth to the object. I am sure some of you has been using that before, especially to those who's trying to achieve realistic approach to their drawing. I've done this before and I call the second shadow because I don't actually know what's the right term for it, or I assume that it is a shadow. It is not actually a shadow, and shadow has colors. Ambient occlusion doesn't have. It's complete black. I'm going to explain it like this. Light bounces multiple times until it loses its brightness, and that's the part where ambient occlusion appears. That is why a lot of games today appears to be realistic when it comes to depth. Before moving on, keep in mind that there's a bunch of light bounces everywhere. So now let's blur a little about the shadow on the ground. The shadow is more blur if it is far from the object. Okay, now we have our flat color, so the next thing we're going to do is to blend it out. You can just actually use a normal brush for it or a mixer brush in Photoshop. And if you have Clip Studio Paint, you can use a blending tool for it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just gonna add some Gaussian blur effect to it. Then some little adjustments, and turns out to be great. Now of course, after applying the Gaussian blur, you have to fix a little to it to make it look perfect. Anything that I did here is less on technicalities and more on knowledge, so therefore these can be applied as well to traditional painting. The only difference is I'm not using Gaussian blur, and you can just use your brush to blend anything out, especially if you're using oil painting, which it takes more time to dry the paint. So now we're done about the application of the colors and how to use it. Now let's proceed on how I study the photo. Now this is my friend, and you can actually tell that the photo is filtered. Filter can add a mood and beauty to your photo. But if we want to draw something, we have to at least turn the filter off for our drawing to get the realistic color to it. I'm not saying you have to do this in Photoshop, like editing the photo just to get rid of the filter. What I'm saying is trying to understand the photo, and in your mind you can actually see the real colors of the photo without the filter. I'll try to get rid of the filter and trying to get the exact color of the photo. But of course it won't be perfect because my editing skills isn't that great, so let's see what I can do. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much satisfied to this. I mean, the colors isn't really that vibrant. I'm going to add that to my drawing if ever I want it more vibrant. And also, the weather of this one is overcast. That is why you're not seeing a lot of shadows and vibrancy to the photo. I was able to tell that it is overcast because during the overcast weather, the light from the sun is scattering around the place, creating a bunch of ambient light to the ground. That's why you'll be seeing a lot of soft shadow around. But I'm going to show you what I think it looks like if it is not a overcast weather. I'm just gonna do it quick. I'm not gonna make this perfect. Probably the shadow looks like that and the colors isn't really that accurate. It needs a little adjustment to it, but maybe it looks like that. And also I was able to tell the time is around noon because of its specular lighting, like what I've mentioned earlier. It is not actually that visible, but if you look closely you can actually tell which area has the brightest part. There's actually no specular lighting going on this one because the subject isn't glossy, and I only use this specular lighting idea just because to figure out which direction the light came from. So we've done understanding the lighting and colors to skin tone, and also we've done studying the picture. So let's apply this to our drawing. I don't have a speed paint to it actually. I only have pictures by pictures process, but it shows you at least where did I apply the elements. So this is the photo we're going to copy, and it's not really that filtered, so we don't need to worry about it much. But since I've told you that the intention of this video is how to improve your colors of your drawing and less of actual drawing, so I'll just gonna trace the photo to make it fast and easy, you know. I mean, I'll be able to draw it, but it takes a lot of time to correct all the proportions on it. I'm not gonna include this to my portfolio anyways. Let's just say this is just a practice color, okay? But of course, if you're gonna draw this, it will be easier for you to apply the shadow if you imagine everything as geometrical, just like what I've done here and to this other photo. This is just a simple shape and you can go further. Sometimes it's not 100% correct, but this is I usually do so that it will be easier for me to add all the lightings and shadows. So now I'm gonna add the main light here. Then the opposite side will be the shadow. And then the skylight will be around here. And the brightest areas are here. And now I added some bounce light, or I'm not really sure if it is a bounce light from the ground, or maybe the photographer is just using a reflector behind the model. Because if you observe closely to the picture, you can actually see a little light from this side of her face, or maybe this is caused by a wall, we don't know. But the important is you were able to see that there if you observe enough. And yeah, I believe it is intentional because adding some rim light to your subject will make it look more interesting. And now we have all the colors we need at least. we're going to use all those colors and blend it properly. Now adding in the other colors. Yeah, it looks ugly for now, of course. So this is all the colors I've added. Then I added some little skylight to her hair. If you really look closely, there's actually a little blue to her hair. And yeah, it jumps to the final output of our drawing without showing you the process. But basically that's it. You just have to blend everything up. And yeah, for the photo study, I was able to tell that it is around 1 or 2 p.m. because of her eyelashes. It created a shadow below it. That tells me the direction of the sun. And you can actually see that I'm still using the colors that I applied earlier. And of course made some few adjustments to it. And then adding in all the details from the background to the earrings, and I didn't apply all the details from her dress because I'm that lazy. I finished it quickly. I finished it like about 4 to 5 hours, I think. I can still push further from here, but I still have work to do. So far, I'm satisfied with it. I mean, I'm not actually aiming for hyper realism, but the information here is still useful for that. Thank you for watching everyone, and I hope you learned something in this video, and if you like it, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more art tutorial in the future. We're done.